Now this small but mighty city may be less than 6 square miles, but it's hands down one of the most... What am I looking at the mic for? Now this small but mighty city may be less than 6 square miles, but it's hands down one of the most affordable cities in Hennepin County. But not only that, it's also the city that I grew up in. Today we're in Crystal, Minnesota. So if you're looking for a cheap Minneapolis suburb, then you definitely don't want to miss this one. Stay tuned. Welcome to Moving Minnesota, the channel that's dedicated to teaching you everything you need to know about what it's like moving here and living here. My name is BrandonArchie, aka your favorite Minnesota realtor, and today we're in the beautiful city of Crystal, Minnesota. Crystal is located just minutes from Minneapolis, and despite it being less than 6 square miles, it's actually the second smallest city in Hennepin County. Now, if you want to guess what the smallest one is, leave a comment below, but until then, you're going to have to wait till the next video to find out the answer. Now, to be a little bit more exact about where Crystal is exactly, it's about 15 minutes north of Minneapolis and about 25 minutes away from the airport. Now, Crystal, in my opinion, is one of the first real suburbs of Minneapolis, meaning that you're going to need a car pretty much to get anywhere you need to get to, and depending on where you live in Crystal, there aren't really going to be many walkable areas. So today we're going to be starting the tour where pretty much everything goes down in Crystal, and that is the Crystal Shopping Center, located in between West Broadway and Bass Lake Road. Now, if you're doing anything in Crystal, whether it be grabbing a bite to eat, getting groceries, going shopping, it's pretty much going to be going down right here. So the main store over here is going to be Target, where you can get all your everyday essential items as well as your groceries done. But the biggest thing about the Crystal Shopping Center is the big selection of food options. Now, if you're into the big chains, then you have your restaurants like Buffalo Wild Wings, Perkins, and El Loro. Otherwise, if fast food is what you're looking for, then you'll have plenty of options like Popeyes, McDonald's, Subway, Taco Bell, and others. Now, lastly, Crystal does have a couple smaller diverse food experiences like Cajun Kitchen, for instance, which specializes in seafood, and you have Tony's African Deli. Now, admittedly, although I did grow up in Crystal, I have not been to the smaller food places, so if anybody's watching this video and you have eaten at any of these places, leave a comment below to let everybody know if the food is good or not and is worth giving a try. But other than food, you can pretty much find everything you need right here, like auto parts stores, nail salons, clothing stores, you name it. Another major highlight of this area is Becker Park, which is actually a 12-acre park that actually just underwent a major overhaul a few years ago to attract more people. It now features a playground area, an ice rink, basketball courts, tennis courts, and everything else. Becker Park is also home to the Crystal Frolics, which is a big gathering that the city puts on every year. It's almost like a big carnival where they have food trucks, games, rides, and live music. And it's really a good place to bring the kids to enjoy some entertainment right in your backyard. Now, while Becker may be one of the most known parks, Crystal actually has over 240 acres of designated parks and open spaces. A lot of them having baseball fields, basketball courts, playgrounds, and skating rinks. And you have the Crystal Community Center, which has an outdoor water park, an indoor gym, and an outside skate park, which really makes it a one-stop shop for anywhere that you want to bring the kids to burn some energy. Ugh. Now, the median age in Crystal is 38 years old, and the average household income is just over $80,000. Now, most of the job opportunities in Crystal are going to be retail, so if you're looking for a different industry other than that, it's going to be even more crucial that you have a vehicle. My very first job actually was right here at this Perkins when I was 16 years old. A job that I quit 6 hours into my first shift. Now, Crystal does have bus lines that'll also get you to and from work if needed. And there's also talk about the light rail being extended to Crystal and surrounding cities. Now, for those that don't know what the light rail system is, it's basically just a transit system that helps people get in and around Minneapolis and St. Paul. Now, there has been some backlash from some residents about the light rail system being extended to some of these cities, so it's currently being voted on, so if there is anything that's going to happen, it's not going to be anytime soon. Now, because I can't possibly know everything there is to know about every city in the Twin Cities, I enlisted the help of some of the residents in Crystal via the Facebook group chat that we have on Facebook. But first, let me just start off by saying one of the things that I've noticed since being in this group is that there is a great sense of community in the city of Crystal. The residents in Crystal here clearly care about their city and the people that live here, and they're always willing to lend a helping hand when someone asks. Especially now that we live in such a disconnected world these days, it's really refreshing to see such a sense of community. Hit the like button if you agree with with that. Now, leading with that, some of the most consistent answers I got was the sense of community and the diversity of Crystal. Now, Crystal is a very diverse city in the sense that you have all age ranges that live here. You have residents here that have been the only ones that ever live in their home, and you have first-time home buyers in every age in between. Now, some of the local favorite restaurants in Crystal are Steve-O's and Bar Louie's, which I mentioned a little earlier in the video, but then you also have places like Milton's, which have really good wings, and then also Crystal Cafe, which I still haven't tried out yet. And all of these restaurants have been staples in the community for years, so what that means to me is that once you get the backing of the community, you're pretty much here to stay. Now, one last recommendation I received was from Hagmeister Pond Reserve. I hope I said that right. Which is a nice place to visit if you enjoy nature. Now, if you go there and sit on one of the park benches, you'll likely see plenty of wildlife like blue heron, deer, and an occasional fox. Or if you want to get your steps in, you can hit some of the walking trails and get your exercise, or you can even take a stroll over the boardwalk overlooking the water. Alright, so let's talk about schools for a minute. Crystal's part of the Robbinsdale School District, which includes multiple different cities. So, given the situation, we can't really judge Crystal by itself for schools, so instead we're going to look at the entire Robbinsdale School District. Alright. So, via niche.com, Robbinsdale School District gets a C+ overall, which is not great, but it's not that terrible either. Now, keep in mind that that does include multiple different schools over multiple different cities, so a C+ is about as good as you could expect. I don't even wear glasses. These are UV glasses. Now, to further prove my point, I myself went to Robbinsdale School District and I turned out just fine. As I'm walking around the city in 20-degree weather, filming YouTube videos. All right, now for the fun part. Let's talk about the real estate. Now, Crystal is hands down one of the most affordable cities in the Twin Cities with a median sales price of $305,000, which is actually $50,000 under the Twin Cities metro area as a whole. Now, a vast majority of the homes in Crystal were built in the 50s, 60s, and early 70s, which means there are going to be a lot of ramblers and 1.5-story homes. Now, another familiar term that you may have heard to describe a rambler is a ranch-style home, which are pretty much the same exact thing. Now, whether you're a first-time home buyer looking for something smaller to start out with, or you're someone looking to downsize and don't want to have to deal with multiple level living, then Crystal may be the perfect place for you. Now, if you're looking for a split level style of home, you can find some of those in Crystal depending on what area you're in, but they're not going to be the majority. So if you're dead set on that style, I'd suggest looking at Crystal's sister city of New Hope, which I'll be covering in another video in the future. Now, because a lot of the homes were built in the 60s and 70s, Crystal is very unique in the sense that a lot of homes have only had one owner. And with those owners getting up there in age, Crystal started to experience a slow demographic change in which the older generation is leaving and the younger generation is moving in. Now, with that older generation moving on, combined with Crystal being one of the cheapest suburbs of Minneapolis, it's becoming a very hot spot for first-time homebuyers. Moral of the story is, if you want to be in the suburbs but still be really close to the city, have a very diverse and strong community, and have access to some of the cheapest homes in the Twin Cities, well, look no further because Crystal is the place for you. But on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, if you want to see one of the most expensive cities in the Twin Cities, then you should watch this video right here next.